Hello, thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Fred Valles. I'm one of the co-founders here at Optmyzr, and we're going to cover new tools to manage ads. As far as the agenda, we're going to be talking about ad management tools, and here's what I'll plan to cover. So first of all, doing audits and policy checks for ads. Next, look at Optmyzr Express and its capabilities for ad management. And then we get into the new tools. Okay, so the first new tool there is the responsive search ad tool. It's going to help you build new responsive search ads, RSAs, much quicker than if you had to do it manually. And then we also have another new tool, which is in pre-release. So everyone who registered for the webinar and has a currently active Optmyzr account, we've enabled this tool for you already. It's called the Ad Text Optimization tool. If you're not a current subscriber or you used a different email to sign up for this webinar than what you use for your Optmyzr login, you're going to have to email us at support@optmyzr.com and we'll give you access to that tool right afterwards. And then, we certainly have to talk about A/B testing for ads since we're talking about ad management. There's not too much new with that tool, but we'll cover it anyway towards the end and remind everyone how that works. And then we'll do the Q&A more towards the end. So save your question or send your questions throughout, but I'll wait until the end to start answering most of them. And of course, if I see a lot of confusion about anything I talk about, then I'm gonna pause and try to talk about those topics on the spot. And somebody's asking if I will be at SMX East. Yeah, usually I am. I haven't decided yet if I'll be speaking, but I'll probably be at SMX East. So Erica will be sure to get in touch and say hello. All right, so let's jump into the live demo portion. So a live demo, I've actually preloaded a lot of these tools just to be on the safe side. We might do some live portions here as well, but I just want to make sure that all the screens were loaded up. Okay, so the first things first, when it comes to ad text, we have the policy and audit tool. So this is still a relatively new tool for us. It's right here in Insights, PPC Policy and Audits. And the purpose of this tool is to help you analyze and understand if your account is sound from a structural perspective. So we're not really looking at metrics, we're not looking at performance, but we're looking at, do you have the right structure in place that's eventually going to help you drive the performance that you're looking for. So I have quite a few audits here in my demo account, but what you could do is you could set up a new audit. And when you set up a new audit, you can fully customize it. So what I've done here for the purpose of this demo is I've called an audit an ad text audit. So let me show you all the disabled audit widgets. So we have a long list of things that we can check in the account. I've turned off anything that's not related to ads because I didn't want to show that in this call. So I'm going to hide those. But now what we're left with is a number of things that are related to checking up on my ad texts. Okay, so extensions, a little bit of performance at the bottom right there. But let's look at this first one as an example. So do I have ad groups that don't have enough expanded text ads? So I want to have at least 2 ETAs in every ad group to make sure I'm testing. You can always click on this and you can change that number to whatever makes sense for you. But I'm going to leave it at 2. Okay, so we can look at these types of things. We also have an interesting one which looks at duplicated headlines. So or duplicated descriptions. If I'm overusing some components of ad text, it will tell me what those are. So I set this up the way that I want it. You can save it, and then you can put it on a schedule to automatically get this in your inbox, and you can run it. Now I've already run it. So on this particular test account, we get an ad text optimization score of a B. Now that number itself is really not that important. It's more of a benchmark. So if you see that going from a B to a C from one week to the next, maybe you got to go back and fix some of your ad texts. But what I find more useful personally is really the rundown of everything that's a potential issue based on the way that I have defined my account should be run. Okay, so you can see that 8 ad groups out of the 57 in this account have fewer than 2 expanded text ads. So we get a bad score on that one. But which ones are those ad groups? Well, you can open them up right here. So you click on that and we'll show you the top 5 things at issue for that specific rule. There's 3 more. How do you get those 3 additional ones? Well, there's a download at the top of the page, and that's going to give you an Excel file with a single tab on that file for every analysis. So each of these 4 analyses that we've done for ad groups will each have their own tab, and each of those tabs will have the 8 issues and then the 6 issues. The third tab won't have anything, and the last tab will have the 5 ad groups that have more than one responsive search ad. So these would be on that list. So it makes it very easy for you to kind of get a checklist of the things that you need to go and fix. Now this is the other one that I said was quite interesting. So we have repetitive usage of the same ad component. It's kind of a unique analysis that's very hard to do otherwise. We see a number of accounts where more than 50% of the headline one is the same across the whole account, and these could be $1 million plus per month ad spend accounts. So you can see in our case, we're using this particular headline 16 times. So there's no excessive usage of any specific components. So it looks like there's a lot of ad testing happening in this sample account. Now, one thing that is a bit of an issue here is 78% of the ads don't actually have a headline 3, it's dash dash. So we could figure out which ones of those, which 162 times were not set, we haven't set up headline 3. So again, this is an audit tool, a policy tool. So it helps you figure out that internally within your account team, you're actually doing the things you said you should be doing based on your strategy. And if you're an agency and you're looking at bringing in potentially new clients, this is a great tool to quickly do an analysis of how the last account management team has been handling the account. And you can point out some flaws and some things that you could fix. And then of course, once you win the business, this is a great tool to run on a weekly basis to make sure you're actually delivering on the promise that you had. For example, we would always have more than 2 expanded text ads. You could find the new ads that have been created, the new ad groups that may not be meeting that criteria. So that is the policy and audit tool for ads. So from here, let's jump into Optmyzr Express and go and fix a few things. So Optmyzr Express lives right here. Now, one thing about Optmyzr Express, it's really that very quick win workflow. So it's going to give you a list across all of your accounts of all the different type of quick win optimizations that we can do, all of them already pre-cached. Now, what I've done, I just wanted to show you the ad testing capability. So I've selected that specific optimization, and I only wanted to show it in this test account. But by default, you would get that list of ad text optimizations across all of the accounts that you've linked to Optmyzr. You could also show it just for the accounts that you have starred, your favorites. So different ways to filter this. But here now, I've got one optimization for one account. There's 11 suggestions for testing new ads. I can click on this to see what those new suggestions are. Now, I'm originally from Belgium, so I speak Dutch. So this is one of my Dutch ad groups. I'm going to skip this because we probably have more English speakers on the call today. But here's an ad group. And so the thing that we're saying is this has only 2 active and approved ads. And we figured there might be an opportunity to add a couple more variations of your ads in this ad group. So what you see at the top here are your existing ads. So this is this would be the new ad, and then here you got your 2 existing ads. You can take an existing ad and you can duplicate that as the starting point for a new ad. Now for the new ad, we've already pre-filled it with the existing ad text. So it makes it very easy to make some very quick tweaks. So manage a Google Ads account. I could set it up right there. Now for each component of the ad text, notice that on the right-hand side, we show you the best performing by CTR components for that part of the ad. So if I wanted to figure out what could I say in headline part 2 that might work better, so I can pick from existing components that I've had just by clicking on these. And then of course, I can also type on top of that and tweak it to however I see fit. The other thing that's going to give you a little bit of context is at the bottom here. So it shows you the top keywords in this ad group. So if I can't remember, okay, what is this ad group really targeting? Well, here's the top keywords, and you can hover over those. And this is by impressions, right? And remember, clicks might be important too, but impressions really are more important because it shows you that the keyword optimized Google Ads is getting something like 8 times the impressions of the keyword PPC management. Now, what's also interesting is to figure out what are people actually typing in when they see these ads. So go over to the search queries, and now you can see that some people actually look for PPC pricing packages, right? So maybe we need to say something about pricing in this ad. Or we have optimized Google Ads spelled with an S instead of a Z. So that might be the British spelling. So that might tell us, hey, maybe we should test out optimization with an S instead of a Z. That might actually resonate with a handful of people. And notice the impressions here are actually quite low. So that informs me too that maybe that's not the right thing to do. But now you have the context of where this ad group lives and what to do with it. So once you set up a new ad, you can just click done. Okay, and so now this one is ready to be added. And if I hit apply, then that's going to be queued up and it will be submitted in the next few minutes to the engine. Okay. So there's a quick question here. So for those of you who still have access to the optimizations inbox, the optimization inbox is a link to the existing full-fledged optimization tools, whereas Optmyzr Express is giving you the optimization here on the screen, right? So these are unique optimizations that differ a little bit from the optimizations you would see as one-click optimizations. So for example, these are all one-click optimizations. These have a completely different interface. We have a tool called the optimizations inbox that says, oh, you have 17 opportunities available if you go into the keyword lasso, but then you have to go to that tool to look at the suggestions and apply them. Whereas this tool is kind of like a massive inbox, everything on one page with everything already preloaded. So you click on it and you can just hit done, apply, or fix errors in this case. So anyway, that's Optmyzr Express for ad tech. So now let me jump into the brand new tools that we have. So if you have a Google rep, they've probably talked to you about setting up responsive search ads. And responsive search ads are great. They can drive new volume, but they also take quite a bit of time to set up. So under the ad section here, we have a new tool, Add Responsive Search Ads, and I'm going to start from the top on this one. So the point of this is that we'll help you figure out which ad groups don't have a responsive search ad, and we'll make it very quick to set that up for you. So I'm going to grab this example campaign. And so the first question this tool is asking me now is, how should we populate responsive search ads? What should we start off with? So we can take a look at all of the active ads in those ad groups, and we can split them out, right? So your expanded text ads already have headlines and description lines. And what we'll do is we'll simply split those ads up into their component pieces and use that as the basis for new responsive search ads. So here we'd be looking inside of the same ad group. Now you could also do the same thing where we take all of the components from the campaign as the starting point. This is less common, but it is an option if you wanted to do it. So I'm going to start with the more common one. So very quickly now, this tool tells us, okay, you have a number of ad groups. This would be the full list of all the ad groups in that campaign that don't have a responsive search ad. And so then you see here on the right-hand side, 4H, 4D. So that means that we've been able to split up the expanded text ads into 4 headline variations and 4 description variations. And you can see it's the same across all of the ad groups that we've identified. Now you can click on each of these ad groups and then you can see exactly what those headline and description components were, okay, including the path and everything as well. Now all of these are orange. That means these are new, these are not reviewed or approved, so nothing's going to happen if you click on this button here. So let's go and make sure that something actually does happen, right? So headlines, we can have up to 15. So we can add in a new headline. I'm just going to make something up here, or I can choose from existing headlines across the campaign. But now I can either add this new headline just in this one ad group, or I can add it for all unapproved ad groups. So I'm going to add it in all unapproved ads. Notice how everything here just became 5H. That's because every one of these now has that new headline variation right there. If I wanted to do something just in this one, put it in here. So now you see this one has 6 headlines, 4 description lines. Okay, so that's number one. Now you can also do edit. So if you figure out that, say that the free trial is 14 days and we wanted to list that in the ad text. So we can click on modify and we say start 14-day free trial now. So that's an update. So again, we can modify this just in this one ad group, or we can do it in every ad group that contains that piece of text. So that's what we're going to do. So we've replaced 7 descriptions. So now if I go and look at different places, it says 14-day in here. All of that's been updated. Now we don't recommend this, but if you for some reason are legally required to pin your headlines or descriptions, say that you're in the pharmaceutical space, for example, you can do that. So click on the pinning right here, and then you can say, well, I want to have this specific headline pinned to position 1, and this one I want to pin to position 2. And now you can see that here, this is pinned to 1, this is pinned to 2. I can click back on that to go back to not pinning it. You can also do the pinning, as you noticed, across all of the unapproved ads, right? So now if I go in here, sorry, I should have changed that. So let me pin to position 1. So that's making a change. So now if I go here, wherever it has that same headline, it should be pinned into position 1. Yeah, sorry, and I did create refresh optimize. So there you go, there it's pinned in position 1. So that makes it really easy and quick to go through this tool. Now, if you don't like this headline, of course, you can remove it for all unapproved ads or all ads. Now, once you're done with this, you ideally look at each of these, and as you say, okay, this responsive search ad is in the shape that I want it to be in, you can approve just this one. Notice now how this becomes green. This one maybe I don't like very much, so I'm gonna just skip it, go on to the next one. At the end of it, I can say, just show me sorted by approved ads or unapproved ones so that I can quickly go from one to the next. If I say approve this one, it automatically will jump to the next one. And then I can go through this. And then now I'm ready to upload 3 approved ads, and you can see exactly what those would be right there. So once you hit the upload button, that's when it's going to go live into the Google ad system. So that's how the responsive search ads builder works. So we've tested this, and we noticed that we can update an entire campaign with responsive search ads in about 27 seconds, which is significantly faster than if you had to do it manually through Google, where you basically have to open up every single ad group, open up the ad builder, review it, approve it, then go and hunt for the next ad group in the list, do the same thing again. And a process that could easily take hours, especially if you have many, many ad groups. So that's the responsive search ad builder. So let me show you the next new tool that we have. And this is the tool that we've selectively enabled for people on this call who also have an active Optmyzr account. So this is the ad text optimization tool. Right now you can find it here under Insights. It was originally built as just an insight tool. Now it has the capability to also make changes in an account. So we're also going to be adding this menu item very soon to the ad text optimization. In fact, it looks like my team is already just on that in between when I started this call and just now. So, but there you have it, okay? So what this tool does is it's basically an extension of one of the popular scripts that we used to have, which was the ad text component report. And what it did is it would say, okay, well, across my whole account, if I'm using the same headline, give me the stats across the whole account. So Optmyzr, award-winning tool, looks like we're using that particular headline 42 times across the account. And this is the cost, and these are the conversions, etc., for that specific tool. So you can get some metrics right there. You can, of course, change the date ranges. You can change the scope and look at just certain campaigns. You can look at networks and devices separately. So that's your starting point. Now, say that we were interested in maybe just headlines that have driven at least some conversions. Okay, so then I can come in here into my filters, just like in all of the other Optmyzr tools. I can save that filter, so I can easily reuse it later, but just I'm going to apply it right now. So then you can see that we have 2 headlines that have been responsible for driving some conversions in this date range. So now we could say, well, interesting, Optmyzr for account managers. Maybe we want to change that, so we can do it right here. We can update that. That's actually going to exceed the length, so it's not going to let me do it. So I'm going to just make something that fits. But now you can see in here that this has been modified. And you can see that this is going to modify 24 ads. And that 24 number, of course, corresponds to the 24 ads in which we have been using that headline 1. So now, basically, I've done a bulk modification of 24 ads that were using that same headline component. Let me get rid of the filters, reset them, and apply. Okay, so now we see the whole set of ads again. Now you can do this for each of the components. So I can also say, look at my description lines and see what has worked well, what hasn't worked well. Where have I spent most money? Where have I had the highest CTR, etc. So I can start to figure out what's working and what's not working. And like I showed you, we can do changes one at a time like this. Okay, but now what if we wanted to do bulk changes? So let me go to headline 1, and let's say that I wanted to find instances where maybe I'm using a number like a year that's old. Okay, so back in 2015, Optmyzr won Best PPC software, but we actually won it as well in 2018. So wouldn't it be better to say that in the ad, not refer to the old time that we won? So we could do that change in here, but what if that text exists in other ad text components? Okay, so that's where the bulk find and replace comes in. So that button right there at the top, let's go and hunt for 2015, replace it with 2018. Let's do that across all of my ad components. And then I can either do a replacement, or if I wanted to do an ad test where I compare the performance of 2015 versus 2018, I could say create new variations of the ads where that matches. I can match the whole word. I can also ignore the case. So now we do a replacement. You can see very quickly, 32 existing ads have been modified. And now, of course, I find no matches because 2015 is out of the picture. But if I hit 2018, now I can see this again. So let me get rid of this right here. So now I can see how many ads have been modified. So 27 in this case. If I just want to see the modified ones, I can filter on that. Still includes the old modification I did for my previous change. And I can look across the different components and see where this change has been made. So headline 2 actually more frequently uses the 2015, 2018 thing. So 32 times we were using that, and that's going to be updated now. I can also look at the full ads, and I can look at combinations of things right here. So, but this is a very quick way now to do bulk find and replace and set up new ad test variations, deal with promotions that are changing, just make sure that the correct ad text is running. Now, we do know that sometimes if you have a boss or a client, they want to verify that these new ads look good. So if that's the case, you can do a bulk download in Excel format or in CSV. If you grab the CSV and your client puts in a couple of changes that they want to make before you apply it to the account, if they send you that CSV back, you can actually bulk upload the CSV back through here. So it has to be the same format of file. And then once you upload it, then we apply it to Google Ads, and then you'll see the preview in here, and then you can post it. Okay, so kind of a very powerful way to do ad text management through Optmyzr. And I see I do have a couple of questions about this tool, so I'll just, okay, well, somebody's saying they would like to kiss me for that find and replace functionality, so thank you very much. Happy you like it. And then is it possible to automatically push these changes to Bing ads as well? No, so this tool right now only works on Google Ads. I will take that feedback to prioritize this one for the Bing ad system. Also, the responsive search ads, that capability only works on Google Ads right now. Bing, about a week or so ago, announced that they would have responsive search ad support in their API. So we've also put that on our roadmap to give you that same capability in Bing Ads now that we can do it through the API. So that'll be coming soon. All right, so I think that's that. So then let me wrap up here with showing you the A/B testing tool, and then we'll take some questions. Okay, so the A/B testing tool, you'll still find that here under ads, A/B testing for ads. So that one, much the same as before. So you can select what type of ad to run into an A/B test. So we're going to do expanded text ads. We're going to find winners based on CTR. We can choose our date ranges, the campaigns that we're looking at, a number of other things. I've run this in turbo mode, so let me turn the turbo mode off. This would be your default standard view, no turbo mode. But now it says, okay, well, it looks like historically this ad is performing much better on a click-through rate basis, so that might be the one to keep. So what this tool does by default is it selects all of the losing ad texts, so that all you have to do is say pause selected ads. So, and selected, of course, are the losing ones in this case. Now you might look at this and say, well, maybe we just generated this new ad. That's why it's got so few impressions. So we have advanced settings for that. So for example, you could say, I do not want to do a comparison of two ads if they have more than a 25% discrepancy in the number of impressions. So if I update that with this, then that suggestion should go away because there was about a 10x difference in impressions. So let me go back to the old view. This ad text optimization, you can also put in a new ad before you remove the old one, so you can create a similar ad. And that interface is similar to some of the other places in the tool that I've showed you. So as you click through the various components of ad text, it shows you top suggestions on the right. These top suggestions are based on the best performing components within that campaign. And best performance in this case is defined as best CTR, not conversion rate, but it's CTR, right? So it's not definitively the absolute best thing to choose, but it's a better starting point than being left with a blank box. And then you can create that ad, and that's going to generate it on the spot in AdWords, Google Ads. Okay, so and then there's another nifty little feature that some people may not be aware of, but if you wanted to get a list of all your ad groups that only have one active ad, there is a download of that right here, along with downloading the ad text A/B testing in a CSV format. So that's the A/B testing tool right there. Okay, and then let me show you one more thing. So sometimes people ask us, could we do A/B testing between RSAs and expanded text ads? We actually don't necessarily believe that that's the right methodology because these ads are not competing on the same queries, not necessarily for the same keywords. And so I wrote an article on Search Engine Land. So if you search for my name as the author, it was about 2 or 3 posts ago, but basically saying that there's different inventory on which these ads might run. So there's a couple of scripts and a couple of methodologies you can follow to kind of do that investigation for yourself. But maybe the most interesting example is right here. So this is from the test account. So any of these rows that I've highlighted in blue, we're only showing a responsive search ad, right? So first of all, there wouldn't have been a point necessarily in saying compare responsive search ad to expanded text ad, because for that one search term, only a responsive search ad is showing. So that's all incremental traffic that you're getting. Now, if you did the ad group level analysis, so not the query level analysis like we're doing in this visual, but the ad group analysis, because it's going to be blending all the different queries together, it might actually tell you that the responsive search ad, in fact, has a worse conversion rate than your expanded text ad, and so you might end up deleting the responsive search ad. But the problem with that is that you now lose all of this additional inventory, these queries for which no expanded text ad was eligible to show, because Google didn't think the quality score of that was necessarily high enough. So this is a pretty good post if you are interested in learning more about why we don't compare RSAs to ETAs in the A/B testing tool. But that said, RSAs are obviously the way of the future for Google Ads, and the machine learning component of it is pretty strong. So we'll be adding new capabilities to help you manage these RSAs. So now we have a tool that makes it easy to set them up, but soon we'll also have a tool to help you manage these things after you've set them up. Okay, so now let's see what other questions we have. If you need to log off and you want to ask your questions over email, there is the support email. You can also ask for a one-on-one follow-up call. And if you did not see that ad text optimization tool in your account, go ahead and just email us, tell us the account that you're using, and we'll be sure to turn that on for your account. But with that, I want to thank everyone for your time today and taking a look at this, and hopefully the half hour you spent with me, you'll get back many times over by using the RSA Builder tool and some of the other tools. And then, of course, and like I said, RSAs, it's the way forward. Give us your feedback on how you're using them, what kind of results you're seeing, and let us know how we can make our tool better. So thanks very much.